the Lions, hey, people are triggered that the Lions are ahead of the Packers because the Packers beat the Lions. Folks, it is an evolving experience. The Packers beat the Lions in week 1. 2 weeks later, the Packers lost to the Browns, and the Lions had one of the biggest wins of the year.
Right.
They went into Baltimore, and they out-Baltimored Baltimore.
That's right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't care that the Packers beat the Lions in week 1. Where are we right now?
Right.
Where are we right now? This is where we are, and it's more than appropriate. And it happens all year long. Well, back in week 2, we beat that team. It doesn't matter. Where are you right now? What are you doing for me right now? Right now, the Lions are number 3, and the Packers are number 7, and they're my rankings.
Talk about Dan Campbell's squad in terms of the entire conference, the entire NFC. Where do they rank? Canty.
I got the Lions in a hat with the Bucks, with the Packers, and with the Rams as the team that could be the primary challenger to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are a tier above everyone else, and they showed that in the second half of their win at home against the Rams. But I think all of those other teams are vying to see who's going to emerge as the team that can knock off the reigning defending world champs. They showed me something last night because they took it to the Baltimore Ravens. They out-physicaled them, and that's bared itself out in the numbers: 224 yards rushing, 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson, 0 sacks on their quarterback. I mean, it was absolutely an impressive outfit. That goal line stand that they had in the second half, that was tremendous, capped off by Jack Campbell forcing a fumble on that sack on Lamar Jackson. They showed me their sports character. And so I would lean toward the Detroit Lions being more the team that we've seen the last 2 weeks and less of the team that we saw in their opener against the Green Bay Packers. They're right there with those other 3 teams as primary challengers to the Eagles.
You got the same wide receivers that was giving you 1,000 plus, 1,000 overall yards.
Yeah.
Both wide receivers, both running backs who did the same. Your tight end Laporte is still there. You have the pieces in place that have been there. So you have familiar pieces, familiar with the system.
Steven.
You did it. You did your job.
Steven.
You did your job. We'll see if it continues. The Lions deserve credit, no doubt about it. And Dan Campbell deserves a lot of credit. Let's see if it continues.
I want to point out 2 things right now with John Morton. The foundation of this Detroit Lions team since Dan Campbell has gotten there has been that offensive line.
No doubt.
The interior trio turned over.
But then the Lions come roaring out at halftime. There's another unbelievable thing that Dan Campbell did, letting him take a bye.
Yeah.
All right. So he gets the big picture. This is a football team. All right. And their whole is greater than the sum of their parts. Unlike a lot of teams in this damn league, they are the best team in the National Football League.
That game is the reason why they'll win a championship in many ways. That's the best team in football. That's the worst game they've played in 2 years. And they go on the road versus a playoff football team and find a way to win when their quarterback plays the worst game he's played in probably 4 seasons. I think that's the difference between Detroit in comparison to many teams and also years past. There's no way you win that game. Quarterback throws 5 interceptions and you find a way to win the game. And I've said this for so long about Jared Goff. His greatest strength is he has no memory in a good way.
The Detroit Lions just put the entire league on notice. They are Super Bowl contenders. It's a different breed of the Detroit Lions this time around. Holy cow. Did they calm the nerves of all Detroiters? And I think they put the national landscape of the NFL on notice that this team is truly here to stay as a Super Bowl contender. Richard, how did this happen?
Mitchell, they came to play, and Dan Campbell came so prepared to open up the bag of tricks. I mean, you would have thought this was last year and somebody else was at the helm of this offense, but it wasn't. It's new offensive coordinator Johnny Morton. I mean, you saw the option. I mean, every 4th and 1, you knew what it was. If you're the Baltimore Ravens defense, you're like, God, 4th and 1, 4th and 2. You know these guys are going for it. And they executed so well. The option play from Amon-Ra St. Brown to Jahmyr Gibbs was masterful. The 4th and 2 up 7 in the 4th quarter. Insert play that they were setting up. They ran 3 or 4 actions off of it. Then they finally got one. Sent Amon-Ra on a corner route. Play action. Jared Goff delivered a beautiful pass. It didn't matter either way because it was a holding call on Marlon Humphreys anyways. So at that point, it was all cake. But let's talk about David Montgomery. David Montgomery absolutely took over this game. His 72-yard run was the was the moment I said, wait a minute. Don't you hear me, baby? It's going to be all right. We don't want to fight. Hey. Mitchell, it started to go. And you started to say, hey, this ain't the same old Detroit Lions. This ain't the Detroit Lions that got blown out in boat race by the Baltimore Ravens. They got something on their mind. Dan Campbell had something on his mind. And then let's go to the other side of the ball really quickly, because it was like Oprah out there. Oprah must have been in Baltimore, Mitchell, because they were giving out sacks. I don't know if I've ever seen Lamar Jackson under duress like he was this game. They were containing him. They were tackling him. They were sacking him. They were hitting him. They were punishing him. They were punishing Derrick Henry. That goal line stand was incredible. That goal line stand to have Derrick Henry first and goal. They had 4 shots at it from about the 2 or 3 yard line. And the Detroit defense stood up, not only stood up, but almost forced a turnover on Lamar Jackson on that rollout play. They forced a fumble. You know, it was a bit of a scrum, but it was a stop. It was a turnover on downs. I was like, oh my God, this defense is showing up. It's been a weakness for so long. We've always talked about, what is Detroit going to do? Who are they going to pick up? Who are they going to trade to really solidify this pass rush? They look really, really, really good. I'm going to have a hard time not moving around my top 5 and putting the Detroit Lions somewhere in there, Mitchell. I don't know where they're going to be, but it's hard to keep them out.
The purple-clad fortress of M&T Bank Stadium, a cauldron of roaring Ravens fans, suddenly silenced by a seismic shift. On the 22nd of September 2025, the Detroit Lions didn't just win, they pillaged Baltimore 38-30, sacking Lamar Jackson 7 times, bulldozing for 224 rushing yards, and leaving the defending AFC power gasping for air. This isn't your grandfather's Lions, crumbling under pressure like a house of cards in a hurricane. No, this is a feral beast unleashed, with Dan Campbell's grit-forged squad out-physicaling the beasts they once feared. Detroiters, feel that chill down your spine? Your long-suffering hearts just got a defibrillator shock. Super Bowl dreams aren't whispers anymore. They're a deafening war cry. And America? The league's on notice. The Motor City's coming for the throne, and they're bringing hellfire. But how did these underdogs turn the script from prey to predator? Let's dive into the offensive inferno that burned Baltimore to the ground. Holy hell. Dan Campbell didn't just coach this game, he orchestrated a symphony of savagery. Under new OC Ben Johnson, wait. No, hold up. It's the ghost of Johnny Morton, whispering in their ears. The Lions flipped the script on a Ravens defense expecting vanilla. 4th and 1. Boom gadget option. Amon-Ra Street. Brown fakes the handoff and pitches to Jahmyr Gibbs for a touchdown scamper, flipping the score to 14-7 early. Then, up 3-1-24 inches the 4th, 4th and 2 from their own 49. Goff threads a 20-yard dagger to Street Brown. But even that was gravy, after a holding call gifted them new life. And David Montgomery? The man's a wrecking ball, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 31-yard dagger that sealed the grave. 224 rushing yards total. Folks, that's not running. That's a demolition derby. Jared Goff? 0 sacks, surgical with 18-yard strikes, proving he's no fragile flower. This offense isn't rebuilding, it's reloaded, a powder keg that just vaporized Baltimore's front 7. Lions fans, admit it. That nervous twitch from decades of heartbreak, it's gone, replaced by a fire that scorches the soul. Yet, for every thunderous rush, the Lions' defense turned the tide into a tsunami of pain because containing kings like Lamar Jackson. That's where legends are forged. Shift to the dark side of the ball, where the Lions' defense didn't just show up, they feasted like wolves on a wounded stag. Lamar Jackson, the electric MVP wizard, spent Monday night under a relentless siege. 7 sacks, constant duress, his jersey shredded by hits that echoed like thunderclaps. Aiden Hutchinson, a phantom, terrorizing from the edge. But the gut punch? That second-half goal line stand, Derrick Henry, the human tank, pounding the door from the 2-yard line on 1st and goal. 4 snaps, 0 mercy. Lions stuff him twice on 2nd and goal, then force a fumble on Jackson's rollout, scramble on 4th ball squirting out in a scrum, recovered by Detroit for a turnover on downs. Ravens fall to 1-2, their vaunted run game neutered at 85 yards. This unit, once a leaky sieve leaking Super Bowl hopes, now stands unbreakable, a fortress of fury. It's shocking, it's controversial. How dare we question Aiden? This D isn't a weakness, it's a weapon, punishing quarterbacks like Jackson into submission. Detroit, your defense just buried Baltimore's dynasty dreams, 6 feet under feel that righteous rage. With offense erupting and defense devouring, the Lions didn't just beat Baltimore, they out-Baltimored them, igniting a firestorm in the NFC North that's got rivals sweating bullets. Oh, the delicious controversy, Packers faithful. Brace yourselves. Your Week 1 scalp over Detroit? Ancient history, a fluke in the rear view, as Green Bay stumbles to the Browns while Lions feast on Raven flesh. Now, my rankings scream truth. Lions at number 3, Packers scraping number 7. Yeah, I said it triggered yet? This isn't recency bias. It's reality. The Lions outrushed Baltimore 224-85, sacked their QB 7 times to 0 on Goff, and turned a potential Ravens rout into a 38-30 gut check. Dan Campbell's crew isn't playing catch-up. They're lapping the field. That Week 1 loss a mere speed bump on the highway to Valhalla. NFC North? It's Detroit's pond now, with the Bears and Vikings circling like chum. Fans in green and gold cry foul all you want, this leapfrog isn't fair. It's ferocious. A middle finger to the doubters who've feasted on Lions' misery for decades. Excitement's electric. Who's next to fall? But zoom out, this NFC inferno isn't just divisional drama. It's a gauntlet where the Lions emerge as the Eagles' nightmare, ready to shatter crowns. Picture the NFC as a coliseum of gladiators. Eagles perched on the throne, reigning champs with that second-half demolition of the Rams, proving their Tier 1 terror. But lurking in the shadows, the Lions, Bucks, Packers, and Rams, 4 wolves vying to rip the crown asunder. Detroit, they're the alpha, out-physicaling Baltimore in ways that scar the soul. 224 rush yards steamrolling a front that devoured lesser teams, 7 sacks turning Jackson's magic into misery, and that Jack Campbell forced fumble capping a goal line apocalypse. 0 sacks on Goff, tight end Sam Laporta feasting on familiar chemistry over 1,000-yard receivers street, Brown and Reynolds still slinging fire. This squad's no flash. It's forged in Campbell's forge, greater than its parts. A machine that wins ugly when Goff's off. Remember that 2023 clunker? Controversial take. Eagles, your dynasty's cracking Lions aren't challengers. They're the reckoning, the blue-collar apocalypse poised to plunge Philly into darkness. Hearts pounding yet? This is your team's time, believe it, or regret it. As the dust settles on this Baltimore burial, one truth blazes. The Lions' championship path is paved in blood and brilliance. But can they sustain the storm? We've witnessed the quake. A 38-30 evisceration that calms Detroit's collective neurosis and ignites national panic. Dan Campbell? A tactical sorcerer. His halftime roars unleashing a second-half 24-7 blitz. The pieces Montgomery's 151-yard fury, Gibbs's dual scores. A D that's sacked and stripped are locked in. No massive overhauls needed. But here's the gut twist. Last year's ghosts linger, that Packers opener a 48-38 bloodbath reminder. Yet 2 weeks in, Lions 2-1, Ravens reeling at 1-2. This isn't smoke, it's supernova. Lions Nation, your wait ends here. Embrace the chaos, the controversy, the sheer damn thrill. Super Bowl, not a prayer, a promise. Who's ready to roar?